Welcome to Pensar Basketball Live and a Merry Christmas Eve to those who celebrate Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, I hope you're having a very happy holidays and that you're spending some time with family tonight. And thank you for joining us because this is a little bit of a family as well. And we like to keep things accountable. So we will start our 2025 Christmas wish list for the Toronto Raptors by reviewing how well our 2024 Christmas wish list went. If you remember last year, the funny Dennis Schroeder cover right here, you'll notice that we wished for quite a few things on Christmas last year. And I'm happy to say a lot of them came true. So let's see if we can make it 2 years in a row going over 50%. Okay. So going down the wish list of what we wished for and how it turned out, my 2024 wish list was now here are the things that didn't work out, just so we can end on a positive note. Precious Achua gets basketball IQ. Santa told me that's not happening, Rob. I'm sorry. And then he shipped him off to New York. So let's count that as a half because he doesn't get basketball IQ, but he's not on my team anymore. So I don't really care. Number two, Scottie Bar, the media, Toronto media apologized for the Scottie slander. I don't know if they're going to ever apologize for what they did, but let's just say they've done a lot less of it this year than they did last year. So that's okay. Number three, health for all players. Talk about the ultimate reverse jinx because this one, the Raptors might be one of the three most unhealthy teams in the league this year. And the Darko Rajakovic slander. I think people are a lot more positive about Darko this year than last, largely due to the fact that Grady has improved, Ochai has improved, and now I guess I'm just sort of hoping if I can just add on to this wish that people start to see him as a more complete coach and not just some development guru, right? Because he is much more than just a development coach. Uh, Playoffs and a competent first round. Well, that didn't happen. We ended up trying to tank, and then we ended up giving our pick away. So, yeah, it's worth noting that on December 24th, 2023, it did not look like the Raptors were really going to tank. OG was still on the team. Pascal was still on the team, and it didn't look like they were going that way. But they end up trading OG, they end up trading Pascal, and they do end up trying to bottom out, but then they give up their pick. But I'm very happy that pick conveyed so that we don't have to worry about it this year. Can you imagine if we had to worry about giving up a top 6 pick this year? Holy crap. That would be bad. A New Year turnaround. Well, that didn't happen. Two-way Pascal. Also kind of negated. I mean, I was hoping at that point Pascal was regressing very badly defensively. I was really hoping he would be positive defensively, but you know what? He's not on my team anymore. I don't care. A time machine to go forward or back 3 years. Okay, this was never going to happen. Santa told me, fuck off, Rob. Okay, AJ DeBonsa 2026. Technically, that hasn't not come true yet, so that could still come true, but I'm thinking we're probably not going to be bad next year. So, yeah, that's probably not going to come true. A win against Detroit. Well, I mean, it's almost like that loss against the Detroit Pistons was the bottom for every Raptor fan last year. Honestly, given the fact that we traded OG the same day he didn't play that game, I really don't care. I mean, the minute we traded OG, I'm like, okay, we're trying to lose. And then you lose to the Pistons. So I was like, all right, might as well. Dennis, Jakob, Thad, or Boucher get traded with at least a first round pick coming back. Yeah, that didn't come true either. So, that's the stuff that didn't come true. But what about what did come true? A surprise prospect to pop somewhere. Well, man, this came true in a big way because Grady's been better than expected. Ochai's been like way better than expected. If you're looking for a surprise pop, I think RJ has been way better than expected. RJ wasn't on the team at the time. Jacoby's been better than expected. I think a lot of players have popped. So that's good. Draft capital via trade. Well, we got that with the Jalen McDaniels trade. So that was great. A Masai Ujiri press conference. At the time, Masai Ujiri was a bit of a, he was a little bit quiet, a little bit, ghosting everybody. What's going on? This team is a mess. And, we got multiple press conferences last year with Masai. So it was good. Free Grady Dick. I felt very strongly at the time that Grady needed more opportunity, that he was going to turn his season around. While a lot of people were writing him off last year, I really felt like he was going to turn it around in the second half, and I just wanted him to have some room to explore his game, and he got it, and he's getting even more of that this year. A Pascal Siakam trade? Yep, we got that. Minutes for Javon Freeman Liberty and Jonte Porter? Oh, man. yeah, we got a lot of those. Growth for all the players. I mean, that's good. Christian Coloco, positive update. Well, it wasn't quite how I wanted it to go, but it was a positive update about Christian Coloco. His blood clots did clear. I really love Christian Coloco. There's few prospects, that I still follow on Instagram after they've moved on from the Raptors. Jeff Doughton, Christian Coloco are the two guys that I feel like I still wish so much good for those guys. I'm not just talking like main players. Obviously, OG is always gonna, I'm always gonna support OG, and there's a lot of players like that. Kyle, Kawhi, but Norm, right? Basically everyone but Fred, right? Fred and Dennis, yeah, But yeah, Christian Coloco, positive, and he's playing for the Lakers, and he's playing relatively well. 3-level scorer who can score in the pick and roll. Emmanuel Quickly, check. Change in the starting lineup. Dennis did get benched shortly after the New York trade. Dennis did get benched for Emmanuel Quickly, so that was good. Scottie becomes the leader of the team and takes over the locker room. I think that has happened in a major way this year. And since that trade of Pascal and OG, I feel like Scottie has grown as a leader, especially when he injured his hand last year, doing a lot of, tutelage. You see him being way more vocal. I was at a few games, you can just see it. Like he is just so demonstrative and vocal. He's the loudest person on the court. He's the loudest person in practices. He's taking, players under his wing. He's got a long way to go, but I'm seeing really positive developments. A competent stretch big. You know what's funny? We created graphics for all of these. Kelly Olynyk was literally on my graphic, and we traded for him like 2 months later. That was pretty cool. A proactive front office. Hell, this front office has been very proactive, very proactive. Team identity, like a clear direction of team identity, not this mishmashed. What are we doing? No, this is a rebuilding development team with good habits. Okay. Growth from OG Anunoby as a scorer. Well, it didn't come for us, but it came for New York, and he's growing. At least he's growing his brand. He's growing his reputation. And again, always wishing well for OG. He inked the bag this year, got New York to pay up. That was great. Next level for Scottie as a scorer. Yes, I think we're seeing that. The bag has developed. What we saw yesterday, the turnaround, that was a pipe dream 2 years ago. He might have one of those moves like in a month 2 years ago. Now he's had like 5, 6 in a game. It's pretty cool. Some direction for the 9-to-5 and improvement. Well, we got a new coach, and overall, it's been a lot more enjoyable to watch. Scottie makes the All-Star game. Yup. He didn't play like an All-Star in the last month leading up to the All-Star game, but, I thought at the time when I made this that he really deserved it. I was pushing for it hard, even though the Raptors social media wasn't. And it's so weird that this year the Raptors social media is pushing for it, and I don't think he has a chance in hell this year, but still get out there and vote. Do I think he's been an all-star? It's not because he's worse than last year. Certainly, it's not because he's worse than last year. He's a much better player than last year. He's not shooting well, and his team is much worse. So I don't think it's going to be as realistic unless the Raptors go on like an 8-game win streak right now for him to make All-Star. I think this is a bit of a pipe dream, but I hope he makes it. Obviously, I hope he makes it, but I don't find myself being like, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't believe he didn't make it. Like, that's just unrealistic. I think, the team has to be pretty good to some extent. We the North Part 2, Showtime Edition, Scottie at point. Well, this one's a kind of half bag. Like, it's kind of, I can't say you exactly got it, but you kind of got it. Now, something else that I wanted to pinpoint here, which is I wanted to do a vibe check. Has Pensar basketball in 2024 was much improved from 2023, the same shit as 2023, fell off from 2023, and don't watch, don't care. So far, much improved from 2023. Sorry, I'm trying to fight off a sneeze. Have I ever sneezed on air? I think that's a pretty remarkable streak, and I would like to keep it, even though if it costs me like quite a few brain cells to withhold the sneeze here. Okay, so much improved from 2023 is leading the way so far. I myself don't know. I think it's better, but I hope it's better for you. But let me know in the comments after if you're watching this. And yeah, okay, absolutely. Okay, let's get to our 2025 wish list for this year. And Gregory saying Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you so much for all your support. CGB 23 saying wishing all Pensar basketball subscribers get keen on Pensar. Penn Dance Film Festival. I've got tickets to the Raps, but not to Penn Dance Film Festival. I'm going to both Film Buff and Raps fans. How's that? Okay, so CCGB, thank you so much for the shout out on this. It's not the Pensari Film Festival. Ironically, that would have made a lot of sense. Pensari Films, Pensari Basketball, Pensari Film Festival would have made sense. But it's the Penn Dance Film Festival. And thank you so much for shouting that out. That's very, very important to me. It's a good bulk of my life, and a lot of work has gone into growing that over the last 8 years. It's fun. It's a fun place for people who love cinema, and I hope to see a lot of you there. Passes are on sale. Links in the description. Okay, why am I blurry? Why does this autofocus thing not blurry anymore? Okay, let's get to the wish list. Okay, this is what I have. I have a cup. I'm going to draw something randomly, and I'm going to read it out. We're going to talk about it for a little bit. We'll timestamp it after, and hopefully we'll get through this in the next 40 minutes or so. Let's see here. Also, before I start, I'm going to make like my only Christmas wish for myself, and that is that my dog lives to see Christmas morning tomorrow. My dog is 15 and a half years old. I got him right when my mom passed away, the same year. And the first 2 years of our lives were not good together. Sorry, I'll get this sort of like sad note out of the way right now, just so I don't have to talk about it later towards the end. So if you're watching this after, you just want to get past the Rob's dog, bit, just give me 2 minutes and to get through this. But yeah, it was a weird time, and I didn't know if I could take care of a dog at the time, but I knew that the companionship would probably help, and giving yourself a reason to get out of the house and wake up every morning. It's the most selfish reason to ever get a dog, and I sort of regretted it for about a year. I didn't think at the time I could even take care of myself, but it forced me to get my shit together. And Sasha is his name. We have been living in the same home, and we've moved 3 times for the last 15 plus years. And I always think that he saved my life. And he's a very sweet dog. He's a very sweet dog. And over the last month and a half, he's been having trouble, like a lot of health scares, a lot of health troubles, a lot of vet bills. And, it happens with older dogs. And it's somewhat ironic that 6 years ago, he lost his best friend, which was my other dog, who was a little bit older. Her name was Maya. And she was another Aussie Shepherd as well. And it was on December 26th, 2018. So, yesterday, right before the panel, my girlfriend came home after walking him, and she was just in tears. She was just like bawling her eyes out. And she's like, he wouldn't walk 2 feet. He wouldn't walk 2 feet. And yeah, I guess my hope is that he just lives till tomorrow and sees one more Christmas. We're going to spend a lot of time with him. We're going to make his favorite foods, and he hasn't been eating very much. He's basically skin and bones right now. So I'm just hoping he lives for one more day, and that, we're able to see one more Christmas with him. I think that would mean a lot to us. I wanted to share something just for anyone who's losing anyone right now, because I think the holidays can be really hard. Everyone's very festive, and some of us are going through some serious pain, maybe because we lost somebody, maybe because we are, ourselves losing a pet, or we have a sick pet or something like that. So I wanted to share something that I shared after my first dog died. And it's something that I think will help you deal with anybody who's losing a pet, or maybe even you if you're losing a pet. So I wrote, after a 4-month struggle, my dear Maya gave up yesterday morning. She died in my arms. I can merely share 5 thoughts on this life-changing journey and its heartbreaking conclusion, in the hopes that this message is of use to someone else down the line. So, number 1, no matter how much your dog will not outlive you, it doesn't soften the blow when the time comes to let go. Like, it never gets easy. Number 2, speaking of letting go, let go. I used to lecture people on doing this when I was running a dog walking company, like not to hang on too tight for, and last month, or what I wrote on Facebook last month, I refused to make the decision, which effectively made Maya's last month a living hell. I spent 10 hours a day tending to her, cleaning her up, but I should have let her go, and I should have stopped. I just could never stop believing that she would recover. So My first dog had a very, very difficult, last month on earth. It was very difficult. Number 3, if someone you know is grieving, saying you're sorry helps, but is largely irrelevant. Saying you understand isn't true. You don't. And comparing it to your own loss isn't very helpful. Like, I've had a lot of people telling me about lost mice, lost family pets, and I know it's really well intentioned, but it doesn't help. So here's my advice: keep the message straight. I'm here if you need to talk. I hope you're recovering and find peace soon. He or she is off to roam in the spirit world now. Okay. Number 4, grief takes time. Don't rush. Too many people torture themselves thinking there's an easing the pain by replacing a pet too soon. To each their own, but you can't replace a dog with another dog. If you love a dog, like, you can't really you can't, I don't think you can have the capacity to love another dog when your heart, I feel like you'll find the capacity to love another dog when your heart mends. And usually it's good to take some time to actually grieve that loss. Number 5, enjoy the moments, all of them. I think I regret most being busy, preoccupied, and sometimes distracted. As she got sick, I focused more than I had in years. It's in a very present way. No social media live streams, no posts about how she was doing. It was one on one mental, emotional connection. If you're going on a walk or giving your pup a bath, turn your phone off. Attention is everything. Think our dogs are very attuned to us. I know when my girlfriend and I have a fight, he would often like be very moody the next day. So dogs absorb everything, our pets absorb everything, our children absorb everything. So, you know, yeah, yes. Nameless thing, my dog too, 15 years old, just came home from emergency clinic today. I hope your dog is feeling better. Yeah. Wow, an Aussie Shepherd is nice. Mad Max dog, beautiful. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have Aussies for the rest of my life. Anyways, okay, let's get to the Christmas wish list and let's talk about. So that's my Christmas wish, that my dog lives till tomorrow. But what is my Christmas wish list for the Raptors? This is the first one. So let's open this up, and it is playoffs 2026. All right, let's get that out of the way first. Yes, I do think, I hope that the Toronto Raptors will have a very quick rebuild. I think there are some decisions that need to be made this offseason that are going to push you in that direction. But the development is there, the roster is there, the talent is there, the pieces are there. I don't know entirely if the coaching staff is there, right? Like that would be a question for someone more attuned to who Pat Delaney is. It's really casual and frankly irresponsible for me to just simply assume that Pat Delaney is an awful defensive coordinator and that he needs to be replaced. But I would love to see one more veteran coach on the bench just to help Darko have that playoff experience, right? Like that tight game playoff experience that, maybe a Terry Stotts or someone like that, someone who isn't going to ruffle feathers, not going to really step on toes, going to fit into the culture, but someone who's been there a little bit more. So I think when you go to the playoffs, that type of experience helps. And I really hope the Raptors make the playoffs in 2026 because this group has to start gelling. I don't want to hear after 2-6 last and next year, oh my God, let's tank, let's tank, let's tank. Like I don't want to hear that personally. I genuinely feel like wasting 2 years of Scottie's, I don't want to say prime or peak. He's not in his peak, but he's certainly entering his prime very soon. And Emmanuel quickly is in his prime and he's inked to a long-term contract. Jakob may be exiting his prime and he might not even be on this team next year. So I really feel like the sooner the better to get to the playoffs, right? This year's not in the cards, but next year for sure. Okay, let's go to number 2. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, this is going to be bad. I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, you might want to close your eyes on this one or you close your ears on this one. Uh y'all can't see it. They because it's the focus, but Davion trade slash Bruce Brown trade. So I'm sorry, Davion Muse. You and I have gone back and forth many times, but I hope for your king's sake, for your savior's sake, that he ends up on another team because I don't think he's going to be ahead of Jamal Shed in the rotation. So if you're in a contract year, which Davion is, it would be better to be on Washington or Charlotte or someplace where you can get minutes, or maybe even on the Lakers. The Lakers would be a dream fit for Davion Mitchell. So, yeah, sorry, Davion Muse. Oh, okay, gotcha. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, yeah. I mean, in terms of a Davion trade, what would I want? A second round pick would be nice, but I don't really need anything to be honest. An expiring is fine. A veteran is fine. Someone to waive. It doesn't really matter. I'm not expecting to get anything of serious consequence here. In terms of Bruce Brown, I hope we can muster up a couple of seconds or a couple of future seconds. Overall, I just want our draft coffers to get fuller, and maybe what comes back with Bruce Brown is a longer term contract, but that longer term contract is, combined to some extent with I don't even know what to say about this oak tree because I mean I have some thoughts. I mean, I was thinking to myself today, like if I had a choice between Justin Trudeau and Fred VanVleet as the next prime minister, would I actually vote for Fred VanVleet? That might be the only person I'd actually vote Fred VanVleet over. So yeah, Davion for prime minister, I'll go for that. Okay. Oh, this is such a selfish goal. Sorry, I didn't think I wrote this. 12,000 subscribers before Pendants. That's so selfish. That's not a Raptors goal. We're gonna ignore that. We're very close to 12,000 subscribers. We're like 125 away. So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Okay, number 13. Ulrich minutes. Yes, we saw a few of those minutes last night, and we've seen a lot of them for the Raptors 905. I think Ulrich is a very exciting, albeit very raw prospect who presents a particular roster archetype that the Raptors just don't have right now. You can argue, there's a little bit of it in Bruno Fernando, a little bit of it in Chris Boucher, but in terms of just his physicality in the paint and his rebounding prowess and the way he runs the court and just overall like how he times those shot blocks, he is your best shot blocker right now. There's no questions about it. He's your best shot blocker and he doesn't do much else, but I think he's shown flashes of doing other stuff like the short roll passing, a little bit of jump shooting. He's going to turn into a positive free throw shooter. I like his overall, like everything. Like I love Ulrich. So I hope that we see more minutes for him for the rest of the year. Okay. A sub 22 win season. Okay, well, the Raptors are currently 7-23. So a sub 22 win season. Now, I don't know where a sub 22 win season gets you in the standings. It probably still puts you around 3 or 4 from the bottom. But yeah, I'm really hoping that there isn't some like crazy ass, 7-game win streak as they try to bolster trade value towards the trade deadline. Like that would be so disappointing because at this point, 6 or 7 wins is pretty much going to move you up like 4 spots. You just don't want that. Currently, there is a gap, a widening gap between the haves and have-nots in the NBA. I can currently show you that gap, and it's very interesting, right? Like, let me just show you this. So this is the Raptors like schedule, which is the past schedule. You'll see that there is this nice little winning area of their schedule where they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8. Don't do that again. Like, don't ever do that again because you beat Minnesota and Indiana, and those were very losable games. You beat New Orleans. That was not going to be losable. And you beat Miami and Indiana. You take those 4 wins off your record right now, you might be the worst team in the league. So it's like, you're so close. You're so close. You could have easily lost this game to Sacramento too. But it's like, okay, like how bad do you want it to be? I want it to be as bad as it needs to be. Like I'm at this point where I'm like, don't go for the middle. Now the Raptors are clearly doing that. Look at that little losing streak right here. If you look at their last season, they lost 14 straight at one point. I think they lost 15 straight at one point. It got bad. So, look, these are games you can perfectly capably lose. If Cameron Johnson is still on the Brooklyn Nets, you are perfectly capable of losing that game just like you lost the last game. Detroit is on a heater, right? Detroit would look like a winnable game, but like, you might think Orlando's a winnable game, but Orlando just beat Boston. And yeah, Orlando will be in Toronto. Maybe it'd be nice to win one, but it's like whatever. Then you got back to back on the road. So to look at the standings, something very interesting is happening with the NBA standings right now, which is that specifically, hang on one second, there's a gap that is widening between 10 and the bottom, right? So this is the play-in. This is the play-in cutoff. When the Raptors pull the plug, it will be because they are too far away from this team. And unfortunately, right now, if this team was a 500 team, you're already too far away. Unfortunately, this team is the Pistons and the Bulls. And the Pistons and the Bulls are 5-5 over their last 10. So what you need is basically for you to do something like 1-9, 0-10, 2-8, and for them to do another 5-5 stretch, each of them. You need these 4 teams to be really good right now. Actually, 5 teams, these 5 teams. You need these guys to go on a win streak. All of them need to go on a win streak. And when they do, it will make the math obvious. Because what I'm telling you right now is if you go on a 5-game win streak and they go on a 5-game losing streak, guess what happens? You're tied, right? Right now, you are almost tied. You're 6 games back of the play-in. Once you become 10, 11 games back of the play-in, which is what happens when one team wins and another team loses, the gap widens by 1. So if tomorrow or the next day, whenever the Pistons play next, they win, that's a 0.5. So the gap will widen from 13 from 6 to 6.5. So if the Raptors go out and win their next game, boom, the gap goes back to 6. But if the Raptors lose one and the Pistons lose one, the gap widens to 7. So what you need is for that gap to get closer to 10. Because once it gets closer to 10, the Raptors will not be able to sell themselves on, oh, hey, Emmanuel Quickley's back and Bruce Brown's back. Let's try to win some games right now and catch the Pistons. You don't want to catch the Pistons. You don't want to catch the Nets. Actually, you want to get the hell away from the Nets and the Sixers. The Sixers are obviously now going to be trying to catch this team. Now, this is the best part. This team right here looks like they're still trying to make the playoffs. They're 7-3 over the last 10. So I don't think they're bottoming out right now. Joel Embiid is back, although he got tossed out of yesterday's game. They're trying to be healthy. So even though they've lost Jared McCain, it seems to me, at least, that they are trying to catch one of these teams. Now, I suspect the Chicago will fall down the standings. They lost yesterday to a team that they shouldn't have lost to, frankly, by as much as they did. So as Chicago moves down, as Philadelphia moves up, I do think that basically you just have to be worse than the Nets. Stay at the bottom 3. Right? It's going to be hard to out-tank the Hornets. They're really bad. The Wizards are not catchable. The Wizards are going to be number 1 or number 2 in the Cooper Flagg sweepstakes. But maybe you can get ahead of Portland. Maybe you can get ahead of Utah, because Utah right now is technically behind you. They have fewer losses, right? They have to get 2 more losses to match you. So right now, the Raptors are 3rd. They're tied almost. If Charlotte gets 1 more loss, they're tied for 3rd. So yeah, just keep that gap. I just wanted to get the tank economics out of the way. And now we can move on from the tank. Okay. One more. So yeah, try to keep that win total under 22. Ooh, number 7, RJ Barrett, defensive boost. Man, if I had like a 2K type of boost, could I just give him like a lockdown badge or something like that? I've been seeing some positive growth from RJ over the last 3 games. It hasn't been completely consistent. It's not throughout the whole game, but it's like here and there. There's like a rotation that he makes that I think he's going to be late and he gets there. There's a contest where I'm like, he's probably going to foul here, but he pokes it away. So there's been some progression on that end with RJ Barrett. A lot of people have an issue with the Raptors' high pickup point, given their personnel, their defensive personnel. Clearly, awful coaching has an issue with it. A lot of people in the Raptors media are like, what are they doing with the Raptors defense? This defense is so terrible. And it's like they're developing. And you hope at the end of this year that Grady and RJ take like at least a 10% step defensively. They're never going to be lockdown defenders. They're never going to be OG and Herb, but can they be team competent defenders? Can they be Devin Booker? I think that's the goal. Okay, one more. All NBA Scottie 2025-2026. Hell yeah, man. I want Scottie to have an all NBA season. I want him to shut the haters up. I'm actually gonna put this one on the side because I want to talk about this one last because I have a hot take about Scottie Barnes. Okay. Let's go. One more. Literally number 1, Cooper. Like I just wrote one word, Cooper. Yeah, I want Cooper Flagg, man. He's the cover of this video, and I think he would be such a game changer. This Raptors defense is so ass, but they're not ass, they're ass by design. If you add Cooper Flagg, which is an overwhelming floor raising defender, to this group, you take a massive step in the right direction. And I think that this could be a monumental, thing for the Raptors. And he fits in offensively. Would I be happy with Dylan Harper? Hell yeah, man. I'd be happy with Dylan Harper. I'd be happy with Dylan Harper. I think I'd be happy with VJ Edgecombe. I'll support any rookie that comes into this team next year unless we completely go off the board and make some stupid mistake. Kaman Malawach. Like, y'all can't even imagine how much content there's going to be about Kaman and, getting his trainer on and, all that stuff. Like, there's going to be a lot. I think personally, the thing that I'm most proud of for this season so far things I'm not proud of is like the Davion coverage and all that shit. But what I'm really proud of is I think we have been the leading voice supporting all these Raptors rookies, from Jacoby to to Jamal to Ulrich and they see it. They all see it. Jonathan Mobo, Jamal Shed, Jamison Battle, like they all see it, right? And that's beautiful. I'm glad that they feel supported, that they're hearing their name on the panel. They're hearing their name, constantly on social media. I did a tally the other day. It was looking through all my Jamal Shed posts. Like, I think the reach and the views on all the posts for Jamal Shed is close to like 600,000. I mean, that's not mega monumental. I'm pretty sure Bleacher Report could make 2 posts that'll reach that, but I think it's mega monumental for a smaller channel to be able to do that for young players. So I'm glad to be able to support their growth, and I hope that we can support Cooper's growth next year. That'd be great. Win the draft, man. That'd be awesome. Number 10, Jakob Poeltl trade. This might be deeply unpopular with some people, but personally, I just don't see the fit going forward. And I think his value is probably pretty high right now, and it's going to be a little bit lower next year because he'll be an expiring contract year. See, following next year, he's on an expiring, and if a team wants to hold on to him, doesn't want to extend him, etc. Right now, there's a little bit more contract flexibility with what you can do with that contract because, yeah, it's not really an expiring because he has a player option, but assuming he's going to decline the player option, I actually don't even think he's going to decline the player option. I think he'll be stupid to decline the player option. I think 19.5 million is a lot to leave on the table for a player like Jakob Poeltl. So, yeah. YouTube expert saying we ain't lucky enough to get the first pick. Andrea Bargnani disagrees with you, man. David C saying, if we get the number 1 pick, what would you accept from the Jazz for that pick? Well, if we get the number 1 pick and the Jazz get the number 4 pick, right? Let's see. What would I accept? I'm inclined to say I wouldn't accept anything, but there's always a price. So let's get that trade machine out. Hang on 1 second. I think you're going to find out very shortly how high I am on Cooper Flagg when you see my asking price for the first overall pick. Okay. The number 1 player, De'Aaron Fox. That's hilarious. Okay. Raptors, Jazz. Cool. So assuming that, get out of here, man. Wait, where are the picks? Where are the picks? Am I crazy? What am I doing here? Here we go. Sorry, blind. Okay, so assuming that the Raptors pick is Cooper Flagg, so that's going out. I would want Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, the Cleveland pick. Wait, do they not have their own pick? There's no way in hell they traded their pick. Wait, what? No. Is Spotrac wrong? Utah Jazz. Are they bottoming out without a pick? What? Or is their pick owned by somebody else and it's heavily protected and then they're trying to do that thing? Hang on. Utah Jazz draft picks. 1 second. Utah Jazz draft picks. Oh, fuck. No, I don't care who they fucking picked. I want their future draft picks, man. Here we go. Fanspo, future draft picks. Okay, so they're 2025. They don't own it. So somebody else owns their 2025 pick. So their outgoing pick is owed to OKC, but it's protected 1 through 10 in 2025, 1 through 6 in 2026. Okay, so they're not conveying it. They're bottoming out. So they have a 1 to 10 protection. So they will have their pick. So I unfortunately cannot find their pick here because it's not actually owned by them. So now I have to add a third team to get the pick. Shit. Okay, add 3 team. Okay, here we go. Bear with me. I apologize. So I need to get their pick from Utah, which is, here we go, 2025 via Utah. Here we go. So get that in. Okay. So we got the 2 players. We got the 2 picks. What else we take in? What else we take in? What else are we going to take here? We'll take their 2028 top 10 protected. Trade to the Raptors. Okay. What else do I want? What else do I want? What else do I want? I want a second. They don't have any seconds. I'll take the 2029 second. Okay. And in terms of roster, what do I give them? What do I give them? What do I give them? Give them Jakob Pertl and Bruce Brown's going to be expiring this offseason. Okay, that's pretty much the framework of the deal. It's going to flop. It's going to fail. I don't really care, but that's the deal. Yeah, that's the deal I would want. So I would want 3 firsts plus Lauri Markkanen plus Walker Kessler, and one of the firsts is from Utah, and it would be like the 4th pick, which I would likely use on Yegor Demin or something like that. Whoever fell, come on, Malawach. And yeah, I would give him Jakob Pertl and Cooper Flagg. I'm gonna be honest with you, I might not make this trade. I might actually not even make this trade. And I love Walker Kessler. I love Lauri Markkanen. I love the idea of 3 first-round picks. That's how high I am. So now y'all understand? Y'all get it? That's probably the right response, James. That's probably the right idea. I was just entertaining it for shits and giggles, but yeah, I probably wouldn't trade Cooper Flagg. I think the better question is, what would I trade him for? I think I would trade him for a guaranteed AJ DeBonsa in 2026. I would trade him for Victor Wembanyama. I would trade him for Franz Wagner and like 2 picks. I would trade him for what else? What else is in the league that I would really trade him for? I would trade him for Anthony Edwards. Cool. We'll see if anyone agrees with you when the time comes. Okay, enough about Cooper Flagg. Let's move on to the next one. Battle contract extension. Yeah, I want Battle's contract to be converted. Right now, he is chosen saying you're super high on Franz. I love Franz Wagner. Okay, so right now he's on a 2-way contract. Those minutes are going to dry up very quickly. I want the Raptors to secure him for as long-term a deal as possible. 3 years, as much money as it takes, as much money is realistic. He hasn't blown up quite yet, but I trust this kid. I trust this kid to be very, very good, serviceable role player. And he's a little bit older, so it's almost like you just found gold. You just found gold in them free agent streets, right? Undrafted free agent, just crazy. All right, number 8, Emmanuel Quickly decision-making boost. Yeah, another one of those RJ Barrett defensive boosts. I want Emmanuel Quickly to become a better decision maker, man. Quicker decision maker, quicker court processor. He's going to need that if he's going to play point guard in the NBA in a pinch, right? And I think sometimes his decision making has been a little bit laggy, a little bit like my internet a few weeks ago. Maybe Rogers is in charge of Emmanuel Quickly decision making sometimes, but yeah, he's a fantastic young player. I think the defensive regression and the questionable decision making at times is making me a little bit lower on him than I want to be. I want to believe in Emmanuel Quickly, but I got to see it first. So I want to see an improvement there. Number 6, sorry, Kaya, you're gonna hate this one. Chris Boucher trade. All right. To our longtime listener, Kaya Murphy. Kaya is a really big Chris Boucher fan. I don't know what you get for Chris Boucher, but at this time, it feels like the writing's been on the wall for a couple of years now. Does not fit with what the Raptors are doing. Does not really help the tank. Does not really hurt the tank. He's just kind of there. So, fresh start, move along. I'm sure he'll get a standing ovation every time he comes back. All righty. I would love a second round pick. I don't think you're going to get a second round pick. All right. Number 11. 2 more picks. Yeah, that's what I want. I want 2 more picks. I don't care if they're second round picks. I don't want disgusting second round picks. I don't want top 55 protected second round picks. But I mean like reasonable second round picks. Like what's a reasonable second round pick? Cleveland 2028 second round pick, I guess, is reasonable. You can expect it to be good, but maybe you can expect it to be bad, but maybe it's good. Utah 2026, Brooklyn 2027, picks like that. Like I just want to have those little sweeteners on our books just in case we get to a point where, we can make a trade. Now, I know that second round picks don't go for a hell of a lot. They don't move the needle a lot, but they are like a nice little nudge. When there's a 50-50 trade where everyone's kind of like happy but unhappy, a couple of seconds usually get the deal done. So I would love those assets because, again, next year when the Raptors are getting better, you would expect that maybe an RJ Barrett plus, couple picks gets you a massive upgrade, or Emmanuel Quickly plus, or Jakob Pertl plus, or who knows, Grady Dick plus. I have no idea who gets traded or who doesn't get traded, who fits, who doesn't. I'm pretty confident at this point that Scottie, Grady, and Jacoby are going nowhere. I'm really confident Jonathan Moba's going nowhere too, but yeah, those are the guys that I think are pretty much untouchable. All right. Number 15, defensive progression. Yeah, man, I really need to see some progress defensively from this team. You're never going to be a contender or a champion if you can't defend. And the Raptors do not defend very well at all right now. They are under Darko Rajakovic, they have been a middle to bottom all the time. And that's weird to me because we were a very good defensive team for many, many years. In fact, we the North, despite, some leaky spots like CJ Miles and DeMar DeRozan. CJ wasn't terrible, but like Norman Powell wasn't a good defender. But, there were some leaky spots, Jonas Valanciunas, but the scheme worked. The team generally played competent defense. And yeah, you don't need 5 Marc Gasols, 5 Kawhi Leonards to play good defense. You don't, right? But you do need experience. You do need a scheme that works for your personnel. And I hope next year the Raptors are a little bit better at this than they have been this year, especially when they're trying to win. Okay. Is this the last one? No, don't lose it. I dropped it. Hold on. I don't think I've ever dropped anything. I don't think I've ever dropped anything, and I don't think I've ever sneezed. So, okay. Number 14, another second draft steal. That's redoing Ochai Agbaji. So it's Ochai Agbaji times 2. Okay. Like, I need another one of those situations where there's a prospect who's maybe, I don't know, a Jordan Walsh or something like that. Like someone who's kind of just sitting and collecting dust somewhere else. Someone doesn't see the value. We bring him in. He pops. Jonte Porter, without the betting scandal, will be fine. But that's not really a second draft guy. Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson. I don't know what the value is on Scoot Henderson or how much faith I still have in him. Jabari Smith. There's plenty of guys. And teams move off of players they don't believe in for a variety of reasons. Teams undersell or undervalue players for a variety of reasons. Maybe it doesn't fit their system, but maybe it fits our system, right? That's technically true, but also not the direction I would have gone in with second draft guys, right? I'm not really going for the Chris Duartes and Davion Mitchells of the world. Okay. I don't think Jonathan Isaac is necessarily a second draft guy at this stage in his career. When I think of second draft guys, I'm really thinking about guys who are still on their rookie contract, still are young. Moses Moody right now would probably be a second draft guy, even though I think he signed an extension. Jonathan Kaminga would be a second draft guy. I don't think he has signed an extension yet. Patrick Williams would not really be a second draft guy because he already signed his extension. So we're looking at cheap guys. Zion. Oh, Lord. What? Help me understand what this means because I don't get it. Like, do you just hate Cooper Flagg or something? Or do you hate basketball? I don't get it. Okay. The one that I want to elaborate on, All NBA Scott, says 2025, 2026, Scottie Barnes. There's a vacuum in the league right now that is wide open, and it is called Face of the League. All right. Now, Darko Rajakovic made a lot of waves by saying Scottie Barnes is going to be the face of the league. And it's been kind of sitting in my mind. And I'm like, ain't no way in hell Scottie's going to be the face of the league, right? Scottie, when he was asked who's going to be the face of the league, he said Anthony Edwards, which I think is the right response. I think Anthony Edwards is the clearest, most charismatic version of this. But I was thinking to myself, what does it take to be the face of the league? Ideally, you're on a team that is at least halfway good, halfway fun to watch. Number one. Number two, you yourself have to be good. Like, you have to be in the All NBA conversation. You can't be like fringe All NBA like Julius Randle, Pascal Siakam. You have to be firmly All NBA. Like, we're talking Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jason Tatum. These are the candidates right now, right? So you need to take that next step as a player. But I was thinking about it. I was like, what do people gravitate towards? People really like to talk about Scottie, whether it is like the trolls online with his tism jokes or whether it is the Toronto media. It seems like every game, if Scottie doesn't play and we win, it's like, look, we don't need Scottie. When Scottie plays and we win, and he plays well, it's like, well, we can't win when he plays well. When he doesn't play well and we win, we're like, see, RJ's better. It seems like everything when it comes to Scottie is always about Scottie. Everything when it comes to the Raptors is always about Scottie. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe it's because, I'm that way. Maybe I'm projecting. But I feel like Scottie Barnes has become a very, very big deal in Toronto. Not always for the good. Sometimes it's for the bad. Sometimes it's, like every media interview when it comes to the Raptors always comes down to how good do you think Scottie can be? He's not really a first option. Is he really a second option? So he's clearly a very, very attention grabbing person. This has been happening his whole life. And I thought to myself, I was like, yeah, I think he's going to be a superstar, James, but you're right. He's not a superstar right now, but I think he's going to be a superstar. So typically superstars are closer to 6'6" than 6'10". So, if you believe the online metric that Scottie's 6'7", he has a chance, but if he's 6'9", like I think he is, maybe that's a little unconventional, right? But AJ Devon's is 6'9". Some people think he can be the face of the league. Jason Tatum is 6'8". Some people think he could be the face of the league. Kawhi Leonard was 6'7". Some people wanted him to be the face of the league. LeBron James, 6'8". It's possible to be the face of the league. He has to want it, though, and he has to think that he can deserve it. I think Scottie would be a great face of the league. I really do. I think he's tough. He's team-minded. He has some exciting moments. I don't necessarily think he's a high flyer, but I don't really necessarily even think. I think he has, like, what is Luka a high flyer? Is Jokic a high flyer? Like, you just have to be good. But he has the personality to do it, especially if that personality is allowed to shine. If you watch Scottie Barnes in high school, he was flexing on people, dancing on people. He was like taunting opponents. He was snarling in their faces. I love that version. I love that dude. That was like my favorite prospect in high school. And then we get to the NBA and it's like they did something to him. Suddenly we're hearing criticism, and every time he flexes on somebody, he gets a foul, a technical foul, he can't look at people the wrong way. I really hope the refs back off this shit because the personality that this guy has is very magnetic. Is a very, very magnetic personality. And I believe that, Subway, like when's the last time? Can you be honest with yourselves? How many commercials is he doing? He's doing commercials with, Jurassic Park. He's doing commercials with Subway. He's doing commercials with Google. He's doing commercials everywhere. Why? Why is he doing all these commercials? How many commercials did Kyle Lowry do? How many commercials did Jonas Valanciunas do? How many commercials did DeMar do? The last player that I can think of, how many commercials did Bosch do? The most famous Raptors in terms of commercials were Vince Carter, and now it's basically Scottie Barnes. His face is everywhere. So clearly, he's a little bit more marketable than Chris Bosh ever was. I'll tell you that much. Be more marketable. Put up those consistent 50 balls, 40 balls every now and again, right? Scottie commercials are the only ones I don't skip. Yo, me too. Oh my God. Bargnani's hilarious. But Grady and we had Grady commercial. We had but that was just like one commercial. It's like the shaving commercial. I'm sure Grady will get some pop he's not a superstar, right? So that's where I'm saying, like, I think Scottie would be an ideal face for the league if he takes that step as a player. And the reason I say that is because well, in fairness, LaMelo got fined for saying something that he should not have said. And let's be real, okay? I mean, we're in 2024. That would have been fine worthy in 2012. Like, he needs to get with it. I think it's a good face for Lee because he's a good guy. He's a family guy. He has dogs. He plays for a stable organization. He's not going anywhere, so you're not marketing him, and then he gets traded the next week. He has like a real swagger to him, a real charisma to him, a real shit talk to him. Like he flex on people. Like you see it sometimes, right? Like, and if he's on a good team, you're gonna see it even more. You're gonna see more of it. You're gonna see more flexing. You're gonna see more snarling, right? So I just traded Quick and RJ for LaMelo and Trey Mann. LaMelo jumper is broken in 2K. Oh Lord, that trade would never happen in real life, but sure. Okay. So I guess what I'm saying is all NBA Scottie is the first step to face of the league Scottie. And I hope, my favorite player becomes the face of the league. That would be awesome. It's an uphill climb for him though. Typically faces of the league are a little bit smaller. Yes. Typically, they tend to be guards. Is he a guard? He's a big guard to me. I had a large philosophical debate with somebody about whether he's a guard, whether he's a forward, but I think he's a guard. I think they tend to be mega scorers. Like, people really like scorers, shooters, whatever. But Scottie's, trying to turn himself into a fundamentally different player. I'll tell you what, though, among the players, if he gets to the point where he can score 25 to 30 points per game consistently, among the players who do score 25 to 30 points consistently, he would be the most marketable. I think he's more marketable than Shea. If I'm being completely honest, I think his personality makes him more marketable than Shea. I think he's more marketable than Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, any of these guys. I think because he's American, he might be a little bit more marketable than Luka Doncic. I don't know. I know for a fact that he's not more marketable than Anthony Edwards. So, maybe it can be Anthony Edwards and Scottie Barnes. I don't know. Anthony Edwards, Scottie Barnes, Jason Tatum. He's more marketable than Jason Tatum. I'll tell you that. Jason Tatum is like, I don't find him to be marketable at all. So, yeah. Not Giannis. No, he's definitely more marketable than Giannis. I think he's more marketable. Maybe not to an international audience, but to a North American audience, yes. So, Rob, do you think Vezenkov would have gotten run if he stayed? Yes. Yes, I do. I think he would have gotten run, and I think he would have helped. But I'm glad that he is where he is, and that's that. Okay, so let me know what your Christmas wish list is when this video goes live. Comment down below and let me know what your Christmas wish list is. And, if you have some time, just say a little bit of a prayer for my dog who is, really struggling right now, and that he makes it through till tomorrow because I really want to give him his Christmas present. All right. I'm going to talk to y'all later. Have a great one. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And I think we're going to do another one tomorrow at some point, but we may not. Like, I haven't completely made up my mind yet. But David C saying, is Wemby too big to be the face of the league? Not relatable. Yeah, I don't think a 7'5" guy is going to be the face of the league. He's going to be the foil. He's going to be like he's going to be the villain, unfortunately, because he's French. And yeah, you're just not going to convince a whole bunch of North Americans to consider Victor Wembanyama, a 7'5" guy from France. Like, literally, as I'm writing the story of the NBA, 7'5" guy from France basically sounds like a villain. Also, players have gotten bigger, so the fact that Scottie is 6'8", 6'9" is pretty much like he would be 6'6" like a few years ago, relative to the other guys. So yeah, I don't know. I see a lot of underdog, often Toronto superstar needs help vibes from Scottie, like a little bit of a Rocky story, where Scottie goes through everybody. Yeah. It doesn't matter if he dominates. Kareem dominated. People never accepted him as a face of the league. It usually takes a wing or a guard, man. The skill set just, when you think about faces of the league, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Vince Carter for a little bit there. What do they all have in common, right? Steph Curry, LeBron James, guard, wing, wing, wing. Like, the last time the face of the league was like the 70s or the 60s with Wilt and Bill Russell. I don't think Shaq was ever the face of the league. I mean, maybe for like a year, Shaq was the face of the league, but he's so charismatic. He's so charismatic. Yeah. All right. Talk to y'all later. Make sure to hit like on your way out. Enjoy your holidays.